starting with Associate immediately by the singing of the national anthem.
Let us put ourselves in the presence of the Lord. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen. Almighty and ever-living God, source of all wisdom and understanding, we gather before you today with hearts full of gratitude and reverence. You are the giver of knowledge, the author of truth, and the one who calls each of us to serve in our own way. Today, we thank you for the Doña Victoria T. Tan Professorial Chair in Medical Education, a sign of commitment to excellence, to inquiry, and to the shaping of minds and hearts. Bless the ones who now assume this honored title: Dr. Patrick Gerald Moral, Dr. Maria Cristina Maranion. Grant them wisdom not only to teach but to inspire, not only to speak but to listen, not only to lead but to serve with humility and integrity. May this chair be a seat of insight, a place where faith and reason meet, and a platform from which light and understanding will shine forth for generations to come. Bless the university, its leadership, the academic staff, support staff, alumni, students, and all who labor the noble field of medical education. May their work always seek your glory and the good of humanity. We ask this through Christ our Lord. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen.
Sa likid mo'y buhay.
esteemed guests, distinguished faculty, proud family members, dear colleagues and students, we gathered this morning for a truly significant occasion, the solemn conferment of the Doña Victoria T. Tan Professorial Lecture. This event not only honors the enduring legacy of a remarkable individual, but also celebrates the profound academic contributions and intellectual leadership within our esteemed institution. To start off our program, I would like to welcome the Dean of the UST Faculty of Medicine and Surgery, Professor Dr. Maria Lourdes D. Maglinaw, to deliver the welcome remarks.
Very Reverend Father Isaias Antonio D. Tionco, OP, JCD, Vice Rector, Professor Cheryl R. Peralta, DRPH, Vice Rector for Academic Affairs, Reverend Father Janelle Abogado, OP, Vice Rector for Research and Innovation, Reverend Father Louis R. Coronel, Secretary General and Executive Director of the UST REFI, Mr. Levin Lau, PhD, Director, Office for Grants, Endowment and Partnerships in Higher Education, Mr. Aniceto Sobrepeña, President Metrobank Foundation Incorporated, Mr. Philip Francisco U.D., Executive Vice President, Metrobank Foundation Incorporated, administrative and academic officials, academic staff, students, guests, cherished friends of medical education, and those watching us via live stream, a pleasant morning to everyone. It is my honor to welcome all of you to the distinguished conferment rites and lecture of the Doña Victoria T. Tan Professorial Lecture on Medical Education. This lecture has stood as a beacon of scholarly excellence, educational innovation, and institutional pride. Today, however, we embrace a new chapter in that legacy, a deliberate departure from conventional, designed to mirror the very educational transformation we champion. Today, we mark a bold and exciting shift in that tradition. In place of customary single presenter format, we have introduced a bold twist. This lecture veers away from the conventional solo presentation, and in its place, we proudly present a tandem lecture. 2 speakers, 2 generations, Generation X and Generation Y, 1 shared vision, with the unified title, Wired to Heal. Evolving from student to digital age physician. Today's lecture features the collaborative insights of 1 seasoned, long-serving faculty member and 1 young, dynamic educator. Together, they represent the harmony of heritage and innovation. This dynamic pairing is deliberate. It is more than stylistic innovation. It is a statement. We refuse to frame old and new as adversaries. Instead, we celebrate their synergy and coexistence. Our seasoned lecturer is a testament to adaptability. Though steeped in years of experience, they have continued to embrace innovation and evolve their teaching methods to meet the needs of today's learners. They remind us that keeping up with change is not just possible, it is necessary and rewarding. Our young faculty counterpart, on the other hand, represents the voice of a generation raised in the digital era, fluent in technology, attuned to students' needs, and unafraid to reimagine how learning happens. Together, they bring us a rich, multi-perspective view of what it means to become and to be trained a wired physician. Someone who heals not just with hands and heart, but with tools, technology, and transformative thinking. Together, these 2 voices underscore a single truth, that medical education thrives when we unite the wisdom of experience with the spark of innovation. Medical education is undergoing a renaissance. The learners we serve are digital natives and are not content with passive instruction. They demand relevance, engagement, and connection. To serve them well, we must re-engineer our systems, rethink our assumptions, and design learning that is responsive to real-world challenges. We must ensure that education remains relevant to the changing healthcare landscape, reassuring in its commitment to quality and compassion, and re-engineered to make room for innovation without losing sight of the human core of medicine. This professorial lecture aims to reflect that vision by showing how two generations can work side by side, how tradition and innovation can enrich each other, and how we can all think beyond the box to nurture future-ready and fit-for-purpose physicians. Let today be a celebration of collaboration across ages, a showcase of educational transformation, and a call to continue evolving as educators, learners, and institutions. On behalf of the University of Santo Tomas, Faculty of Medicine and Surgery, I thank you all for joining us, and we thank, of course, the Metrobank Foundation for providing this relevant venue to promote this initiative in medical education in honor of Doña Victoria T. Tan. May this occasion inspire continued dedication and provide lessons to shape a more adaptable, irrepressible, and resilient future. Maraming salamat po.
Thank you very much, Dean Maglinaw. And to continue with our program, let's welcome Mr. Philip Francisco D., the Executive Vice President of Metrobank Foundation, Inc., to share his message.
Reverend Father Isaias D. Tionco, OP, Vice Rector. Professor Cheryl R. Peralta, DRPH, Vice Rector for Academic Affairs. Reverend Father Janelle Abogado, my seatmate, OP, DTPS, Vice Rector for Research and Innovation. Father Louis R. Coronel, OP, EHL, Secretary General and Executive Director of the UST Research and Endowment Foundation, Incorporated. Professor Dr. Maria Lourdes D. Maglinaw, the Dean of the Faculty of Medicine and Surgery. Mr. Levin Andrew H. Lau, PhD, our Director for Office for Grants, Endowment, and Partnerships in Higher Education. Distinguished shareholders of the Doña Victoria T. Tan Professorial Chair Lectures in Medical Education, Associate Professor Patrick Gerard L. Moral, and Assistant Professor Maria Cristina A. Maranion, university officials, esteemed guests, colleagues, friends, ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of Metrobank Foundation, a pleasant morning to all of you. We are gathered today for the Doña Victoria T. Tan Memorial Lecture, an occasion that holds deep meaning for us at the Metrobank Foundation. Not only does this event allow us to honor the memory of a remarkable woman, it also is a reaffirmation of our commitment to the advancement of knowledge, integrity, and service in Philippine society. Allow me to say a few words about the woman after whose legacy this lecture series has been named. Doña Victoria T. Tan, the mother of our late founder, the founder of Metrobank and the Metrobank Group of Companies, including, of course, Metrobank Foundation, Dr. George S.K.T., was a person of integrity, compassion, and an ardent believer in the power of lifelong learning. This lecture series is our way of perpetuating her values, especially among those whose profession is to care for others. We are honored to have the University of Santo Tomas, and in particular the College of Medicine and Surgery, as our partner in this program. For many years now, UST has been a steadfast collaborator in delivering these lectures, consistently upholding the highest standards of academic and professional discourse. Our partnership is anchored on shared ideals: the pursuit of excellence in education, service to the nation, and the formation of professionals who lead with both competence and conscience. Today's theme, Wired to Heal, evolving from student to digital age physician, could not be more relevant. It speaks to a transformative reality in the medical profession and in society more broadly, as technology reshapes not only how we work, but our very identities as professionals and human beings. As technology accelerates, the medical field finds itself at a pivotal moment. Artificial intelligence, electronic medical records, telemedicine, mobile health apps, automation, and even the latest diagnostic and surgical equipment are no longer things of the future. They are present realities that we have to contend with. For the young physician in training, these tools offer innovative opportunities to learn, diagnose, and serve, but also raise very fundamental questions. How do we preserve the human touch in a world of automation? How do we teach ethics in a world that is increasingly mediated by data and algorithms? How do we bridge generations with vastly different learning modalities, expectations, and tools? These are not just technical or logistical questions. They are moral and educational challenges that strike at the heart of what it means to be a physician in the 21st century. Today's Tandem lecture by Dr. Moral and Dr. Maranion responds to these challenges by showing us the industry's evolution through complementary lenses. Their discussions promise not only to map the changes in medical training and practice, but also reveal how mentorship and intergenerational understanding are essential to navigating such seismic changes. This is precisely the kind of exchange that the Doña Victoria T. Tan Memorial Lecture was meant to support. We aim to contribute to shaping future doctors that not only adapt to technological advances, but are able to critically and ethically assess them so that they can be used with discernment, empathy, and intentionality. At the Metrobank Foundation, we believe that nation building begins with investing in people. Through our programs in education, healthcare, the arts, and recognizing excellence in public service, we aim to measure progress not only in terms of economic indicators, but in the quality of professionals we develop and the depth of their commitment to service. This lecture is a part of that mission. We envision doctors who can lead technological change without losing their core purpose to heal and to serve. We support educators who can embrace new techniques while also nurturing critical thinking and moral reflection. To our partners at the University of Santo Tomas, thank you for consistently championing this vision. UST's long history as the oldest existing university in Asia is a proof to your enduring legacy of academic rigor, ethical formation, and service to humanity. We are proud to work with you in ensuring that the next generation of Filipino physicians will be both skilled and compassionate. To our speakers, Dr. Moral and Dr. Maranion, thank you for lending your experience and wisdom to this critical conversation. Your willingness to model the kind of intergenerational dialogue is a lesson in itself, showing us what it means to face tough questions together with humility, courage, and grace. And to the students and professionals in attendance today, this lecture is for you. A chance to pause and reflect on the path you are walking. The road ahead is filled with uncertainty, but the essence of your vocation remains unchanged: to heal with skill and to serve with heart. May today's lecture be a meaningful step for all of us in our respective journeys. Thank you once again, and good morning to everyone.
Thank you very much. Maraming salamat, Mr. D. And to provide a description of the Doña Victoria T. Tan Professorial Chair in Medical Education, kindly welcome Mr. Levin Andrew Lau, PhD, the Director of the UST Office of Grants, Endowment, and Partnerships in Higher Education.
Good morning to everyone. The Doña Victoria T. Tan Professorial Chair in Medical Education was established by Metrobank Foundation in the UST Research and Endowment Foundation to support the University of Santo Tomas in its endeavor to further develop, enhance, and innovate its programs in medical education. The Professorial Chair in Medical Education, which can also be awarded in the form of a research grant, aims to encourage the core of professors, including associate professors and medical researchers of the UST Faculty of Medicine and Surgery and the UST Hospital, to author and publish treatises and researches that introduce avant-garde concepts and approaches in designated areas in medical education. By doing so, it is envisioned that this initiative can promote competence, excellence, social relevance, regional and global competitiveness, and efficiency of medical practices in the Philippines. Started in 2019, the program will have 10 holders of this professorial chair in medical education who would deliver lectures on issues and advancements in their medical expertise. At the culmination of the program, a book containing all the treatises and researches will be jointly published by the University of Santo Tomas and the Metrobank Foundation. 4 professorial chairs and lectures have already been delivered. The lecture titled Roads Less Traveled, Clinician as Teacher and Researcher by Dr. Sandra Teresa V. Navarra. Teaching and Research, Are They Exclusive? By Dr. Fidela E. Moreno. Enhancing Ethical Behavior, Lessons from the COVID-19 Pandemic by Dr. Angeles Tan Alora. And Knowing Oneself Inside and Out, Success Formula for Teachers, Students in Caring Professions by Dr. Maria Minerva Kalimag. The Professorial Chair in Medical Education is named in honor of Doña Victoria T. Tan, the mother of Dr. George S.K.T., the founder of Metrobank. Doña Victoria Titana, or Ama, as she is known to family and friends, was born in Na'an, Fujian, China on June 12, 1908. She came to the Philippines with her children in December 1946 to join her husband, Don Norberto T., who came ahead to the country and who by that time had already built several successful enterprises. Like most ethnic Chinese women during her era, Doña Titana dedicated her life supporting her husband and taking care of their children, among them Dr. George S.K.T., a woman of vision. She was smart and possessed a strong character and a natural business sense. She supported the family's various social and civic projects, especially those that Don Roberto implemented through the T Family Association and Yongchun Family Association. Having been bred in the traditional values of thrift, honesty, industry, and hard work, she made sure these values were passed on to her children. She instilled onto them the importance of promptness and of being a role model to those they worked with. She took pride in her children and their achievements, and with her own industry and determination, inspired them to achieve greater heights. At the age of 98, Doña Victoria joined her creator on September 14, 2006.
Thank you very much, Mr. Levin Lau. To formally present our distinguished conferees for this morning's solemn conferment, we are honored to have with us Associate Professor Dr. Roland Panaligan, the Chair of the Department of Medical Ethics, an adult pulmonologist and a close colleague of both of our conferees. He will introduce the esteemed individuals whose contributions and dedication to medical education are the reasons we are all here today.
Life is all about a journey. It is about a story. This morning, as we celebrate the life and ideals of Doña Victoria Titan, we will be amid two storytellers with perspectives, though coming from different generations, will be in unison through selfless mission and a vision of excellence. Esteemed colleagues, honored guests, ladies and gentlemen, it is a great privilege to present this year's conferees of the Doña Victoria Titan Professorial Chair in Medical Education. Our first conferee's life reflects on a consistent devotion to healing, nurturing, and serving, not only as a profession but as a way of living. As a lung specialist, he has spent years giving his countless patients the gift of breath and hope. He was a training officer of the Center for Respiratory Medicine Adult Pulmonology Program for 17 years, where he nurtured generations of young physicians, including me, breathing life and hope into our aspirations. He is a leader, having served as president of the Philippine College of Chest Physicians and the Philippine Society of Sleep Medicine. He has shown that proper and effective leadership is not just about authority, but about committed advocacy, shared mission, and empowering others. With his vision characterized by integrity, he has inspired the society to reach greater heights. His work as an academician, one of the medical ethics pioneers in Philippine medicine, as well as his community and extension services, speak of his deep conviction that medicine is not only a science of the body, but also a vocation of the spirit, one that demands intellectual objectivity, moral courage, fortitude, and an enduring concern for others. He is steadfast in advancing knowledge, equity, and empathy in healthcare. He extends his healing ministry beyond the clinic, bringing clarity, competence, and sound information to a wide healthcare community that increasingly looks to the digital space for guidance. As he extends his reach beyond the bedside and the classroom to the digital sphere, he is a proponent of PhilPulmo, a pioneer of the Philippine Digital Medicine Society, and even a podcast host of I Am Human and After Clinic. All of these are platforms where he champions health literacy and contends misinformation with competence and compassion. In his personal and career life, he exemplifies the ideals of proper medical education, extreme curiosity, intellectual humility, innovation and integrity, service and humanity. He reminds us that teaching is nurturing and touching lives, and the best teachers lead by words and example. Today, we recognize not just his milestones, but also the lead he sets, that medical education is not only about imparting knowledge, but about inspiring and nurturing others to lead with a purpose and leading with both intellect and compassion. With deep admiration and respect, I invite you to join your hands for our distinguished conferee, Dr. Patrick Gerard Lopez Moral. Coming from someone who has aged with wisdom, we now shift to someone who is a glaring example of how youth and vigor, when paired with brilliance and purpose, can help transform the landscape of medical education. Our next conferee embodies the mold of a new generation of physician educators. She is an asset to the Department of Pharmacology, where she is seen to be driven, dynamic, innovative, and deeply passionate about both teaching and learning. She is also a pulmonologist and, like Dr. Moral, an educational technology expert. Initially an esteemed member of the Department of Medical Education, where she has skillfully blended her clinical and academic expertise with modern pedagogical approaches. Her competence, dynamism, and youthful energy drove her to become one of the youngest training officers of the internal medicine program at UST Hospital. We saw her passion in shaping the succeeding generation of internists. She guided, nurtured, and mentored her residents through a hands-on approach and a sisterly supervision. Her commitment went beyond teaching clinical skills and updating medical knowledge. She continuously instills the values of respect, professionalism, lifelong learning, and service, among others. As she currently serves as the Chief Program Officer of the Clinical Programs Office, she brings the same vigor, energy, vision, and passion to her role as an administrator. And in a short time, she has been known for her strategic mindset, cross-functional collaboration, and skill to translate ideas into action. And what about social responsibility? Her rigor fuels her advocacy, literally talking about fuel, since she led the 2023 Mindoro Oil Spill Mission in Pola and Nauhan Oriental Mindoro to bring comfort and medical care to a community in need. This shows that her vocation extends beyond the four corners of her office, the classrooms, and the hospital wards. All she has achieved in a limited time is a potent reminder that Thomasian medical education expands into the real world, where competence, advocacy, empathy, and action work together to serve humanity. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming our second conferee, Dr. Maria Cristina Maranion.
Thank you very much, Dr. Panaligan, and we shall proceed with the conferment rites. I would like to invite Professor Dr. Dr. Remedios D. Chan, the Assistant Dean of the USC Faculty of Medicine and Surgery, to read the certificates for our conferees.
Good morning. The certificate reads, Pontifical and Royal University of Santo Tomas, the Catholic University of the Philippines, awards the Doña Victoria T. Tan Professorial Chair in Medical Education for the academic year 2024-2025 to Dr. Maria Cristina A. Maranion, given this 8th of July 2025 at the Continuing Medical Education Auditorium, San Martin de Porres Building, University of Santo Tomas, Manila, Philippines. Signed, Professor Maria Lourdes D. Maglinaw, MD, Dean, UST Faculty of Medicine and Surgery, Reverend Father Louis R. Coronel, OP, EHL Secretary General, and the Very Reverend Father Richard G. Ang, OP, PhD, Rector.
Thank you very much, Dr. Assistant Dean. May I invite Assistant Professor Dr. Maria Cristina Maranion on stage, and also to present the certificates, the Very Reverend Father Richard G. Ang, OP, Rector of the University of Santo Tomas and President of the UST Research and Endowment Foundation Incorporated, will be represented by Reverend Father Isaias Antonio Tionco, our Vice Rector. And I also would like to request Professor Gerard Peralta, the Vice Rector for Academic Affairs, and our esteemed guests, Mr. Aniceto Sobrepeña, President of Metrobank Foundation Incorporated, and Mr. Philip Francisco D., Executive Vice President of Metrobank Foundation Incorporated. Professor Gerard Peralta, and to present the Medal of Recognition, may I invite to join on stage Reverend Father Janel Abogado, OP, DTPS, Vice Rector for Research and Innovation, to award the Medal of Recognition. We also would like to thank the Chair of the Preventive Medicine, Preventive Community Medicine, for assisting in handling the medals and certificates. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. May I call in again the Assistant Dean of the UST Faculty of Medicine and Surgery for the next conferee.
Okay, the certificate reads, Pontifical and Royal University of Santo Tomas, the Catholic University of the Philippines. Likewise, awards the Doña Victoria T. Tan Professorial Chair in Medical Education for the academic year 2024 to 2025 to Dr. Patrick Gerard L. Moral, given this 8th of July 2025 at the Continuing Medical Education Auditorium, San Martin de Porres Building, University of Santo Tomas, Manila, Philippines, signed Professor Maria Lourdes D. Maglinaw, MD, Dean, UST Faculty of Medicine and Surgery, Reverend Father Louis R. Coronel, OPEHL, Secretary General, and the Very Reverend Father Richard G. Ang, OP, PhD, Rector.
Abogado OP DTPS to join them on stage, Vice Rector for Research and Innovation, to award the Medal of Recognition. Again, Assistant Professor Tina Maranion for a tandem photo. Thank you very much to our university officials and administrative officials. As we move to the heart of this solemn conferment, we now invite our distinguished conferees to formally accept this esteemed recognition. Please welcome Associate Professor Dr. Patrick Gerard Moral and Assistant Professor Dr. Maria Cristina Maranion, who will now deliver their addresses of acceptance.
Reverend Father Isaias D. Tionco OP, Vice Rector for Religious Affairs.
Professor Gerard R. Peralta, DRPH, Vice Rector for Academic Affairs.
Reverend Father Janelle N. Abogado OP, DTPS, Vice Rector for Research and Innovation.
Reverend Father Louis R. Coronel OP, Secretary General and Executive Director of UST Refi.
Mr. Aniceto M. Sobrepeña, the President of Metrobank
I feel like it's a
Foundation.
tennis match.
Mr. Philip Francisco Yudi, the Executive Vice President of Metrobank Foundation. Ms. Marivic Mariano, the heads of the and grants of Partnership of Metrobank Foundation.
Mr. Levine Andrew H. Lau, PhD, Director UST, Office for Grants, Endowment, and Partnerships in Higher Education.
Dean Maria Lourdes D. Maglinaw, the Dean of UST Faculty of Medicine and Surgery.
Assistant Dean Dr. Remedios D. Chan,
Faculty Secretary Dr. Citadel de Castro.
Department Chairs, distinguished faculty and students, and of course, a special shout out to our families from the departments of Medicine and Ethics,
Pharmacology and Pulmonology.
and also, of course, to our non-academic staff and the section of Pulmonary and Critical Care and Medicine. Good morning.
Yes. It is with deep gratitude and humility that we accept this Doña Victoria T. Tan Professorial Chair Award. We thank the Metrobank Foundation and our academic community for this meaningful recognition, which affirms the value of our shared work in education and service.
This honor is not ours alone, but belongs also to the mentors, colleagues, and students who continue to inspire and challenge us.
May this honor serve as a continued reminder of our shared responsibility to uphold excellence and integrity in our field as Catholic educators.
So again, our thanks. All right. So I'll start by being the seasoned one, as the Dean has said. So being one with a lot of seasoning, let me first ask you, have you ever asked your personal physician how she chose to be in the medical profession? And if your physician is in their twilight years or losing their seasoning, have you ever wondered what keeps them going? Papers have enumerated the reasons. Okay, I think maybe our slides are not showing yet. Okay, introduce pa pala yung talk. I'm sorry. All right. We were already priming us. Go back to. All right. So welcome. So I'm sorry. We were pressured in terms of starting on time also. So we wanted to make sure that you had enough. But anyway, let me go back and rewind. Just pretend it is Alzheimer's. All right. So as I said, have you ever asked your personal physician how she chose to be in the medical profession? And if your physician is relatively older, like some of my mentors here, have you ever wondered what keeps them going? All right. People have enumerated the reasons why people enter the medical profession. And these are primarily altruism and humanism, an innate desire to be of help to others, prestige and respect. Of course, for some, it will be financial security. Some will be challenged intellectually, and of course, there may be parental and family influence. I will let you decide what was my top reason based on this photo. I am Patrick Gerard Moral, a third-generation physician from the Moral side, and a second-generation physician from the Lopez side, both of them educators. I am an adult pulmonary sleep specialist by choice and convenience, being an asthmatic and someone who serendipitously found on his lap an opportunity to train in an emerging specialty. I have been teaching ethics and medicine for over 24 years as part of my heritage from my tatay and my love for diagnostic puzzles. This is how I am wired as a physician educator. Born in 1968, I belong to Generation X. Educated through chalkboards and slides by traditionalists and baby boomers, the recipient of long lectures required courage on the part of the student at the bottom of the totem pole. It was a hierarchical structure that placed a premium on discipline, strong work ethic, and commitment. On the other hand, our clinical learning was advanced by the numerous patients we were exposed to, making us adept at conversations and connections with our patients. Every task in medicine was physical and mental, as there was nothing digital. You listened to lectures, read books, wrote down notes, or marched outside the campus to have them photocopied. Experience was key to learning examinations. Examinations were summative and had no science, where exams may have had choices from A to J. I am a digital immigrant, educated without computers. I have learned to navigate technological evolution, incorporating mobile phones, computers, and the internet, social media, and artificial intelligence into my teaching and practice. I am proud to say that I have played a part in the education of my co-conferee today.
I am Maria Cristina Maranion, a first-generation physician and academician. I come from a family shaped by perseverance. My mother, an academic scholar throughout her schooling, became an accountant and worked for DBP. My father, once a janitor and assistant cook in our hospital dietary department during his pre-law years, and later worked as an NBI security guard while studying law before he became the legal head of Land Bank. Okay. So their journey from humble beginnings instilled in our home the values of discipline, determination, and the pursuit of excellence. While my siblings followed their paths in business and law, it was always my parents' dream to have a doctor in the family, a dream I was privileged to fulfill, and because I was born with just one ear. Okay, today I am a practicing adult pulmonologist, an educator in pharmacology, medicine, and multidisciplinary integration. My passion for pulmonology was born from a deeply personal experience, witnessing my paternal grandmother suffer respiratory fatigue in a provincial hospital that had no ventilator. My cousins took turns ambubagging my grandmother. And that moment stayed with me and shaped my commitment to a field where no patient is left behind without proper care. Born in 1986, I straddled generations. I was raised in a world where learning meant flipping through Groliers, Encyclopedia Britannica, and World Book. These are encyclopedias that my mother curated in our home library, and alongside the digital revolution, from dial-up internet to smartphones, from Manila paper presentations to virtual platforms. And I was, of course, educated by baby boomers, Dr. Villaspin, and Gen X mentors by Dr. Moral. I witnessed the transformation of traditional pedagogy by technology. My parents, ever supportive, upgraded our home tools to keep pace with times, ensuring that education remained our family's strongest investment. These experiences taught me to value the foundations of traditional education while embracing the possibilities of innovation. In both medicine and teaching, I bridge generations, rooted in the past, responsive to the present, and open to the future. As a digital native, I've witnessed the rise of technology and AI in medical education, allowing me to blend humanistic mentor-driven learning with power of digital tools. Tech-savvy and collaborative, I thrive in flexible environments and actively seek new knowledge through social networks, blogs, and streaming platforms, learning as dynamically as I teach. Though often assumed to be instinctively tech-savvy, my fluency in educational technology was shaped by necessity. I joined the faculty in August 2019, completed Blackboard in January 2020 training, and just weeks later was thrust into a pandemic-driven remote learning. What began as a compliance to my compliance became competence and ultimately mentorship, leading to my appointment by Dean Maria Lourdes Maglinaw as an e-learning specialist for the faculty. And this saying is true. Techie ang mga bata, as they have good digital literacy and are quick to adapt to new tools. I embrace the digital transformation of education, not just out of necessity, but with genuine curiosity and excitement. As Charles Darwin aptly emphasized, it is not the strongest who survive, but those most responsive to change. And frankly, I don't want to go just extinct yet because I just started my professional journey. And the challenge is this: we are now teaching Gen Z and soon Gen Alpha individuals who have incorporated technology and AI not only in education, but in all aspects of everyday life.
You have heard how Tina and I, two people from different generations and origins, received our medical education and ended up where we are today. How can two unique individuals be similarly wired to heal? To educate a new generation of physicians, how do we use technology and digitalization as educators in a way that will be appreciated by individuals for whom it is a part of their everyday lives? Our desire as medical educators is to mold physicians who are designed to be competent, committed, and compassionate in this digital era. It should start with a recognition that each student that walks through the portals of the faculty is unique, and that includes privilege. An exercise we do in first-year ethics is called privilege bingo. The students are asked to cross out any of 25 details that would place someone in a position of privilege, done anonymously via an online platform. It was an eye-opener to see a low score of 7 to a perfect one of 25. It revealed that our students starting their medical journeys did not begin from the same starting point, though they are all expected to finish at the same time. Some had so much more to overcome, while some were so far ahead. This meant that some may primarily be pursuing medicine because they feel it is their calling, while others may have an equally strong desire to achieve financial stability for themselves and their families. The latter may need to juggle studies with work or side hustles. How do we then personalize a standardized curriculum, ensuring equity in shaping varied individuals into the mold of an ideal physician? Let us first tackle the medical curriculum that primarily aims to achieve competence. It has been said that the amount of information that used to accumulate over 10 years is now generated in 1 year. How can converting information into knowledge evolve from my time to today? 40 years ago, we had books for each subject, 1 to 2 hours of in-person lectures, and 5 to 9 hour schedules. As one progressed, the second year exposed us to real patients in the hospital ward. Patients were brought to the lecture hall during grand rounds to be examined and interviewed in front of the entire class. It was exciting as a student, seeing the cases leap out of textbooks. But looking back now as an ethics educator, it now feels exploitative, as consent was not entirely free, with the doctor-patient relationship being paternalistic, with an imbalance of power. As the patients were from the clinical division, issues of justice also came into the picture. Moving into clerkship in our 4th year, we took care of our patients, where we were introduced as doctors and got to do our first procedures. There was a bit of misrepresentation here, perhaps to make patients to have more trust in the clerks and reduce their qualms when we did procedures. This was not unique to our institution, but simply what was practiced at the time. Fast forward to when I became part of the institution as an educator 24 years ago. We had now moved to digital projectors, moving from static slides on carousels to projected videos and presentations that could be changed even a few minutes before the lecture, allowing the instructor to incorporate any late-breaking changes. The computer had now supplemented books as a repository for information that could run compact disks and storage devices containing as much information as journals. Bringing in patients for conferences was now disallowed, placing greater emphasis on patient dignity and respecting their privacy. There was definitely change for the good, but when it came to technology, it may not have been equitable as it was pricey, and access to it was tied to one's financial capacity. Fortunately, the institution, with the help of generous benefactors, was able to transform the Learning Resources Unit into the Medical Informatics Center, which was equipped with numerous computers that made access possible for all the medical students. As we now educate medical students who have technologically embedded into every aspect of their life, from studies to entertainment, shopping to transportation, there is a constant shift in how they should learn and how we should teach.
As an educator, I have witnessed firsthand how our learners today, which are digital natives, are wired differently. They've grown up swiping, scrolling, and syncing, expecting instant access, interactivity, and constant connectivity. Since the rise of generative AI, especially ChatGPT in 2023, how they learn has fundamentally shifted. They want resources to be online, searchable, and sometimes summarized in a 10-minute YouTube video. Feedback must be instant. They multitask, explore beyond the syllabus, and often question traditional teaching methods. But in medicine, not everything can be Googled, and more importantly, not everything should be. The shift didn't happen overnight. The pandemic forced us to rethink how we teach and forced us into a period of intense adaptation. We learned on constructivism and mastery learning, integrating flipped classrooms and asynchronous modules. Students now engage with content before class through videos, simulations, and interactive e-learning. With spaced repetition tools like Anki and Osmosis, they build long-term memory, especially in complex subjects like anatomy and pharmacology. This approach gives them flexibility, autonomy, and deeper retention. Competency-based learning has also taken center stage. It's no longer about time spent, but about demonstrating skills in real clinical contexts. Through deliberate practice and gamification, using platforms that simulate clinical scenarios, students get feedback, face challenges, and improve through safe, repeated exposure. It's outcome-focused, adaptive, and motivating. AI has further advanced simulation-based education, aligning with experiential and situated learning, virtual patients, diagnostic simulations, and AI-enhanced OSCEs provide immersive, personalized, real-time feedback. Even case-based and just-in-time learning have evolved, supported by tools like ChatGPT, MedQBot, ResearchRabbit, and Zoom AI Companion, enhancing access, analysis, and articulation on demand. But even as we've embraced these innovations, we face a growing concern, which is digital overload. The very tools designed to support learning and can become overwhelming. Notifications, pop-ups, deadlines, and platform fatigue. It's a lot. Students are at risk of cognitive fatigue, and educators too are stretched thin. They constantly adapt, update, and chase the next digital solution. The danger is real. Sometimes, technology starts to drive the learning rather than support it. So, how do we move forward? We need to curate and not just create. Not every topic needs a video. Not every session a quiz. Intentional design matters. As millennial educators shaped by the analog to digital shift, our task now is to model digital wisdom, choosing the right tool at the right time for the right reason. We must ask, does this deepen learning, foster compassion, make us better doctors, or just faster ones? Because at the heart of it all, the future of learning isn't just about speed, convenience, or even access. It's about being more human. The real promise of digital learning lies not in changing what we teach, but in transforming how we connect with content, with each other, and with the deeper calling of medicine itself.
Let me put flesh on the outline presented by Dr. Maranion on how we connect with content, and I will discuss this in the context of how we teach medicine and ethics. Technology has augmented our lecture classes. This was something we tried to pilot before, using projectors to enable everyone in the small group to clearly see how an examination is done, allowing the teacher to guide the learners better. Role-playing can now be given instant feedback, with the students learning to give and receive critiques. In this class on informed consent for our first years, you see two students, one playing the role of a doctor, getting assent for circumcision, from another student pretending to be a 12-year-old. You can see the feedback being provided by their classmates on the screen behind them using a learning management system, which is Pear Deck. Short didactics are held in between more complex role-playing to consolidate the information and synthesize the learning for each segment of the discussion. The possibilities of how technology can be used are limitless. It may require proficiency, but with speed, at that speed of that which technology is evolving, especially with artificial intelligence, time and effort may be minimized while efficiency is maximized. Okay, I will now just go out of my talk and try to see if this will work. I hope you bear with me. I will now ask ChatGPT to help me in terms of crafting a patient. Hi, in English, please pretend that you're a 56-year-old male patient who is unemployed, who is seeking consultation for pneumonia. Please make sure that the doctor understands that you have problems in terms of finances.
I'm here because I've been feeling really unwell. I've been coughing a lot, and I've had trouble breathing. I think it might be pneumonia. I've also been having a tough time financially, and I don't have a job right now. Can you help me with treatment options that are affordable? I want to make sure I can get better without worrying too much about the cost.
So we can make use of that as a simulated patient for patients to talk with. You can now incorporate all of these things as we've mentioned, and you can curate ready-made material from social media platforms like YouTube, or create your own with Snapchat or TikTok or AI, and share it on Facebook or Twitter. The material may be used face-to-face, online, on meeting platforms like Zoom, or become more immersive using virtual or augmented reality. Feedback can be collected right after a session, and summative evaluations carried out easily with platforms like Mentimeter or Pear Deck. Now, this is a sample of something I did during the pandemic. This is wherein I utilized Snapchat to create various patients whom I acted as. These were uploaded on Flipgrid, where students could just record questions and answers that they would like to ask the virtual patient. On the following online meeting via Zoom, a whiteboard was used to collate the possible diagnosis of the students, as the case was a 30-year-old female with hypogastric consideration. By the way, this is not Sharon Cuneta, all right? The considerations then were UTI and even pregnancy. I had not shaved when I created the video, so someone said the patient may have PCOS, or polycystic ovarian syndrome, as she is overweight and has a mustache. This was unintended, but it revealed the clinical skills of the students. With the use of Pear Deck, we were able to ask questions and get candid responses as they were anonymous on screen. At the end of the session, you could get feedback on how well they understood the session. If someone was left behind, it would be possible to identify that student and perhaps quietly address this in the subsequent meetings without unnecessarily embarrassing the learner. Immediate remediation was therefore possible. As Dr. Maranion spoke of becoming more human also, therefore a physician has to be wired to the heart. Competence also requires that we develop skills of compassion. It is not simply about recognizing suffering, but being motivated to alleviate it. This is an attribute that is non-negotiable for any physician. And this can be traced back to empathy. Sadly, data has shown that over the past 3 decades, empathy has dropped by almost 50%. This has paradoxically been aggravated by the advent of smartphones. Though these are supposed to facilitate communication, the average Filipino as of 2025 spends 3 hours and 32 minutes on social media, isolating one from human interaction. One therefore becomes disengaged from the outside world, interacting only with people of the same mindset and beliefs, creating echo chambers. This creates another problem in terms of competence, a lack of cultural competence. The challenge in medicine is that our exposure to the outside world and healthcare may be minimal. Though we may have communities that we work with, an understanding of the lives of our patients, especially the marginalized, may be superficial at best. This may be contributory to the decline of empathy, because despite it being commonly described as walking in someone else's shoes, we can never really do so. So how do we develop empathy? It is by seeing others and listening to their stories. And this is where humanities in medicine, with the help of technology, can help. We can make use of medical humanities, and medical humanities can help us foster cultural inclusivity. It can nurture visual, diagnostic, and analytical skills. This is a painting that you can find in the Prado Museum in Spain. and it is entitled, "And They Still Say Fish is Expensive." So I have the students look at this painting and have them analyze it. Some are able to see that apparently this individual has a wound somewhere in the abdomen, is bleeding. Obviously, they can see that these are probably fishermen with a small fish that you see on the side. But some who are more adept can look at the faces of despair and hopelessness of the other fishermen attending to this individual. This is an example of where arts can actually supplement science in terms of understanding more about empathy, because it can nurture the positive qualities. Also, it's an outlet for us physicians. My students have always said, we're happy to have our ethics class because it is a diversion from every exam and every scientific class that we have. And this is where we can have this learning that will hopefully make them into more compassionate physicians. Now, you can make use of several platforms. With equity, not everyone can go to Spain and go to the Prado Museum. However, online platforms can make you go to virtual museums and take a tour. And this is like going on an actual tour where you can just press, look at the painting. You can even go closer to read the captions and look at the details of the painting. This allows our students, again, various ways of adopting through this mechanism. Now you can also make use of databases and online stories. I'm sure Dean is familiar with one of the books here because it involves a neurosurgeon. These are, if you want to know about the story of cancer, how it has evolved and how it has been treated, you can read The Emperor of the Maladies. But perhaps you might say, we already have so many books to read in medicine and you're adding something more. This is where Audible and your other apps may come in helpful, where you can listen to this. And this is something we encourage after you already are done with your school year. It can also be this one, done by Dr. Syed Tabatabai, who is a Pakistani, who made the stories about his journey into medicine, small anecdotes that he collected from his Twitter posts, and these are these vital signs. Now, the third book here is When Breath Becomes Air. This is a neurosurgeon who was first into the humanities. He then pursued a medical specialty, entered neurosurgery, only to find out that he had a stage 4 malignancy, and he would be dying in a few months. He was not able to finish the book, but this was finished by his wife. And it gives you the travel of a physician who has become a patient at the same time. It allows you a better understanding of how things can go. And lastly, one of my favorites, you might want to look her up on YouTube. This is from Dr. Sunita Puri, who is a palliative care specialist, who talks about it's good that we are not immortal. Because we know that, since we know that we are immortal, we will do what we can in the time that we have to be the best that we can be. And this book is something that can help actually form better physicians, not just cognitively, but in terms of compassion. Now, we are now moving to simulation. And this is something that we've been using at least for the cheaper version. You can buy a cheaper version where you can put your cell phone in this device. And this actually mimics a person with macular degeneration, who is an African American. He now feels the difficulty of moving around, signing consent forms, and on top of that, he already experiences the discrimination of being African American. Now, by doing this, it makes you really feel that you are in the shoes of the patient. Now, we can also listen to podcasts, and this is an innovation we did this year. For our small group discussions in first year, rather than just simply talk among each other, it was also recorded. And the recording now constitutes a podcast, which they can listen to, and they can include as part of their portfolio, if we do get them published, with clearance, of course, from the university and the faculty. Now, let me just end up with the parts of integration. I just want to show you, for example, in the topic of human dignity, just to show you how we are able to integrate this. We talk about privilege and marginalization. We have 3 objectives for this session, like understanding the concept of dignity just beyond the lecture, recognizing and reflecting on personal and systemic privileges, and developing strategies addressing marginalization and promoting equity. So we want to go from respect for person to virtue, have critical thinking and moral action. So we got an article that we saw online, and this featured an artist who is actually a transgendered individual. During one of my lectures recently to a group of over 400 physicians, I asked them, how many of you have treated transgendered patients? There were only 2 who had raised their hand. And I said, how many of you have discomfort in treating a transgendered patient? half of the population in the audience raised their hands. It's because we do not know anything about them. So this is an example of a post on Twitter, and this artist said, "You have no idea what some people messaged me. Kung mayroon tayong word na discrimination, it's more than that." And to think that sometimes they put those insults below the belt words along with God, and that upsets me. So this is something that starts a conversation with the students to see their understanding of the situation. And to add on to the discussion, we can go to YouTube where we visit a channel called What Would You Do? It gives us 3 scenarios here, wherein there are 2 instances where an individual is bullied and one is prevented from using the bathroom. So with social media, it gives us scenarios that we cannot do in actual or real life, and hopefully when they see how people act, it will serve as role modeling. And to get the students' opinion and assure them there is safe space for discussion, we ask them the question, do you agree the transgender right to use a washroom of their assigned gender? Why or why not? Every answer is considered and discussed. And at the end, we try to come up with guidelines in terms of how to respect the individual's dignity without sacrificing your religious beliefs, but at the same time practicing the virtue of compassion and care. I have shown you the benefits of how technology can be used in education, but it has equally many risks and pitfalls. We require an understanding of these to gain proficiency that befits the health professional.
One of the pillars of the Thomasian Seal is lifelong learning, a value we strive to instill in our students, hoping it remains with them long after they leave our halls. And it often does. But as I continue to engage with young medical colleagues, clerks, interns, residents, and fellows, I have noticed a growing unease. Many are overwhelmed, not just by clinical demands, but by the weight of digital expectations layered on top of them. In this hyper-connected world, we must train our students not just to be skilled users of technology, but wise and ethical ones, ready to address the ethical dilemmas technology and AI bring. Let's begin with something deeply personal: privacy and data security. Every click, login, and quiz attempt creates data. Educational and healthcare platforms track performance, habits, and even keystrokes. But do students truly know what's being collected and how it's being used? Transparency, informed consent, and data protection must be built into how we design and deliver education. Efficiency must never come at the cost of ethical responsibility. Then there's the issue of equity. While digital tools promise to democratize access, they can just as easily deepen inequality. A student with high-speed internet and their own device learns very differently from one relying on borrowed gadgets and unstable data. A truly ethical education must be inclusive, designed for all learners, not just the digitally privileged. We also face digital fatigue. The constant switching between apps and platforms leads to click fatigue and choice paralysis. Students are overwhelmed by too many interfaces, too many tasks, and too many decisions. And over time, this undermines motivation, focus, and reflection. And in medicine, that's especially concerning because we're not training machines. We are forming human beings who will heal, listen, and think critically. AI and algorithmic bias add another layer of complexity. Tools that summarize or recommend clinical answers may reflect racial, gender, or cultural biases. If unexamined, they can reinforce stereotypes or distort judgment. And as educators, we must teach students to question these tools, not just use them. Ask, who designed this? What data trained it? Whose perspective is missing? And then, of course, there's academic integrity. With AI now capable of generating essays, quizzes, even exam responses, how do we ensure assessments remain meaningful? We must reframe integrity not as a rule book, but as a virtue, essential to the kind of professional and person our students are becoming. All of these points to a simple truth. Our curriculum must evolve. Just as we teach anatomy and pathology, we must now teach digital ethics. Our students must learn how to use technology with discernment to handle sensitive data, recognize bias, protect privacy, and above all, remain human in a digitized world. Because the true promise of digital innovation isn't speed or convenience, it's the chance to become more human. Our goal is not just to produce graduates who can click and code, but physicians who can think, feel, and choose wisely. The future we build must not be only connected, but also consensuous.
In equipping our physicians for the future, one thing is commonly missed, and that is competence to be compassionate towards oneself. And that is where the cord may fray, cutting the wire of long-term commitment. This aggravates problems that have been recognized, which are mental health and burnout. I was not taught how to deal with these when I was a student, because the mantra was that a physician had to have grit and resilience. Lessons were about caring, first for the patient always, but never for oneself. During the pandemic, this resulted in compassion fatigue, and for some, it was the trigger to walk away from the profession. As someone who's had clinical depression and burnout, I know how this feels, and I was not equipped to handle that. The solution, as has been said in a 2024 Medscape survey of physicians, has always been to step back and unplug. It ranked seeking out family and friends. Though therapy was considered last, this aversion of physicians to seek professional help should not hinder us from prioritizing this as well. Though technology may be an added burden, it may also foster compassion to flourish, not only for the patient but for oneself. So let me talk about something that I've used, and I've taught some of the students to use, which is journaling, which means writing down your thoughts, taking a photo, mentioning a quiet note that can serve as how you're feeling for the day, because it helps you prioritize your problems, fears, and concerns. It helps you track any symptoms from day to day, so that you can recognize the triggers and learn ways to better control them. And lastly, it also provides you an opportunity for positive self-talk and identifying negative thoughts and behaviors. The year just before the pandemic, and I've shown this before in a talk, was when my mother died. After a long bout of being bedridden for 8 years, she had a sudden deterioration just weeks before her birthday. And I was on leave from the faculty for 6 months from my burnout and depression. And that was not the best time to have this. So I would be the one who would usually try to stay with her, as my sister with her numerous kids had a lot of options in terms of what they had to do. And staying there, I had no recourse but of course to do my journaling. And my journaling was something I shared with friends. And this allowed you now to reach out to other people, and they reached out to you as well. So it went through the entire journey. In fact, it went through my Catholic renewal in a sense, that I learned to pray the rosary again, which is something I had not done in quite a while. So this traveled on and followed her until her birthday in the hospital and her eventual demise. So this is an example of where journaling was able to help me out in terms of seeing that, I had more things to offer, and continuing what I did as a physician and an educator would still be to continue to be of help in the future. So just some tips that I normally tell people: try to write down every day. And during the pandemic, I just took pictures for my stories in my Facebook page. It makes it easy. So write or draw whatever and see your journal as you see fit. So as I said, this just takes note of everything I had during the pandemic, and obviously almost everything featured food.
In this age of screens, bedside manner is undergoing a different but quiet shift. Digital tools have undoubtedly improved point-of-care decision-making and clinical accuracy in ways earlier generations could only imagine. But as our screens light up, our presence at the bedside often fades. We've all seen it. rounds centered on documentation, lab values prioritized over patient stories, and students more engaged with drop-down menus than with eye contact. The timeless rituals of medicine, like pulling up a chair, listening without rushing, examining with care, are being endangered. And yet, these are often the most healing acts. A patient may not recall every correct laboratory result, but they will remember if we truly listened, looked them in the eye, or showed up with compassion. Technology is not the enemy, but it must remain what it was meant to be, a tool, not a replacement for empathy, intuition, or human presence. These qualities, our ability to connect, to comfort, must be protected and taught. Bedside manner is not instinctive. It is a skill to be modeled, practiced, and cultivated. Active listening, respectful body language, professionalism, emotional attunement, these form the essence of care. And today, presence extends beyond the bedside to the screen. Webside manner, the digital extension of that same human connection, requires the same attention. Eye contact, warmth, and undivided presence even through a webcam. Because in the end, it's not about having a strong Wi-Fi, it's about building strong trust. Whether in person or online, the goal is the same, to make patients feel seen, heard, and safe. Because healing begins with understanding and not just treatment. Let us practice and protect the timeless truths of our profession. Medicine is first an art before it is a system. Presence matters most than precision, and no screen, no matter how advanced, can replace the healing power of being seen, heard, and touched with care. And in a world of clicks and codes, we must remember, while technology can enhance care, only we can humanize it. Traditionally, mentorship in medicine followed a top-down model. Knowledge passed on from teacher to trainee, roles were clear, and wisdom was handed down through structured hierarchies. But in today's fast-changing, digitally connected world, that model is shifting. More and more, I find myself not only teaching, but also learning from those who come after me. This is the essence of reverse mentorship, a two-way exchange where experience meets innovation and learning flows in both directions. Our Gen Z learners arrive with tech fluency, a collaborative spirit, and a bold openness to change. They're not just adapting to disruption, they are driving it. Whether it's mastering new platforms, rethinking how information is accessed, or challenging traditional teaching methods, they push us to evolve. And rather than resist this, we must embrace it, not as a loss of authority, but as an opportunity for mutual growth. Reverse mentorship doesn't mean abandoning our expertise. As educators, we bring clinical wisdom, ethical grounding, and human insight. But our students bring new tools, fresh perspectives, and digital agility. Together, we expand what's possible in the classroom, the clinic, and beyond. This becomes especially vital in the age of blended learning, where lectures meet digital modules, bedside rounds are enriched by simulations, and learning is no longer confined to the four walls of a classroom. Today's learners want more than content. They seek relevance, flexibility, and meaningful connection. In this landscape, reverse mentorship is not just helpful, it is essential. And what does this mean for us educators? It means creating adaptive learning spaces where structure meets exploration, where we combine clinical cases with digital tools, and where we welcome feedback from every direction. A junior may teach a senior a new app, and a senior may show how to apply it with discernment. This is mentorship reimagined, reciprocal, respectful, and rooted in shared purpose. But it also requires humility, the courage to say, "Show me how you do that," and the wisdom to know that learning doesn't end with seniority. Our task is not just to preserve knowledge, but to prepare a generation to lead, question, and transform medicine with compassion and critical thinking. This brings us to the rise of the hybrid physician, someone trained to think clinically, communicate compassionately, and move confidently between the bedside and the screen. But with all this innovation, one question becomes urgent. How do we stay grounded and connected in the midst of constant digital acceleration? It begins with purpose. As future physicians, we must never lose sight of why we chose this profession. Medical education must nurture this. It's not enough to teach students how to use AI or navigate digital platforms. We must also teach them when to step back and put the device down. Staying grounded also means building digital mindfulness. The hybrid physician knows how to filter noise, avoid digital fatigue or burnout, and engage meaningfully with tools without becoming dependent on them. And educators play a key role by modeling balance, using tech as an aid and not a crutch, and designing learning experiences that prioritize depth over speed. And ultimately, connection grows in community. Peer learning, intergenerational mentorship, and collaborative case discussions remind us that medicine is never a solo act. Even as we move into AI-supported care, we must remain anchored in relationships with our patients, our colleagues, and our calling. To be a hybrid physician is not just to keep up with change, it's to stay rooted in humanity while moving with innovation.
We are now at a point in time where we are nearer to 2050 than we are to the year 2000 or 2000. What does it mean to be a physician in the next quarter of a century? And how do we lead our future healers into what lies beyond? As someone nearing the end of his journey as an educator, as mentioned by the Dean, seasoned or the seasoning is giving, let me now share my final thoughts. We have committed ourselves to lifelong learning, and being a student once and still a student at 57s, you know it's not an easy task. Just like the humanities guide we provide our students at the end of their first year in ethics, let technology give you the flexibility to learn outside the clinic and the hospital, at your own pace, beyond your medical CMEs, with the music you listen to, the series you binge, the movies you watch, and the books you read. They may not be directly related to healthcare, but they may make you a better human being. And that is the baseline for being a good physician. Allow technology to help you gather your thoughts and streamline it, but it should not replace it. Technology should help you become a better physician by increasing the breadth of your vision instead of narrowing the world you live in. Technology should augment the skills you use to communicate with your patients, but it should not take away your voice. Allow technology to bring equity to healthcare and do not allow it to become a gatekeeper. Let your digits run what is digital. Should healthcare robots rise in the near future, let your healing touch be superior. Let me leave the final words with someone whose hands, heart, and mind will create the circuitry that will guide our physicians of the future. Tina?
And as Catholic educators and physicians, we are called to form not just skilled minds, but compassionate and morally grounded hearts. In this age of artificial intelligence, that mission becomes even more urgent and complex. Our tradition reminds us, technology is a tool, not the telos. It must serve human dignity and never diminish it. We must lead this transformation with discernment and courage, embracing new tools, questioning them critically, and integrating them wisely into how we teach and assess. Above all, we must model what it means to be fully human in an increasingly automated world, forming hybrid physicians who are both tech-enabled and faith-anchored. Because in the age of AI, our calling remains unchanged: to teach, to serve, and to form physicians who will heal with competence, commitment, and compassion. Here in UST, where medical education is unparalleled, sufficient, superb, and transformative, We shape doctors who are ever seeking the truth, serving in love, and healing with grace. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much, Dr. Moral and Dr. Maranion. Indeed, technology in medical education isn't about replacing the healer, but empowering them with unprecedented tools for learning and care. Joining us this morning as reactors are two of the most innovative, vibrant, and dedicated faculty members in the Faculty of Medicine and Surgery. Ladies first, and this is not based on age, beauty. Dr. Anita Sangalang is a graduate of the Doctor of Medicine program from the Far Eastern University, Dr. Nicanor Reyes Medical Center. She completed her residency in obstetrics and gynecology at Cardinal Santos Medical Center and later pursued a master's in health professions education from the UST Graduate School. Currently, she serves as the chair of the Department of Medical Education at the UST Faculty of Medicine and Surgery, where she works her magic by innovating the medical curriculum. Just be ready with your submissions of your TOS and COTE. Our second reactor is Dr. Earl Luis Sempio, who graduated from the UST Faculty of Medicine and Surgery. He completed his residency in internal medicine with subspecialty in pulmonology at the UST Hospital. Dr. Sempio takes on multiple roles, including Chief Program Coordinator of the LeapMed program, Assistant Chief Program Officer of the Medical Informatics Center, and Unit Head of the Center for Respiratory Medicine Media and Creation Unit. He is also a certified technology expert, a technology geek, proficient in Google, Microsoft, and Apple products, and just be prepared for an energetic greeting from him in the morning as he always has something new to share. Oy, meron akong bagong natuklasan. Gusto mong malaman? They had a very innovative way of choosing who to give their reaction first. Nag-jack and poy po sila kanina. So we will call on ladies first, Dr. Nitz Sangalang.
Thank you very much, Sita. Is it still morning? Good morning, everyone. First of all, I would like to congratulate Dr. Patrick Boral and Dr. Maria Cristina Maranion for the conferment of the Doña Victoria T. Tan Professorial Chair in Medical Education. Again, good morning. You know that the topic for today is supposed to be very timely and meaningful discussion between the two of them. Again, a very seasoned professor and doctor, and a very young and promising academician and clinician on how digital technology is supposed to be transforming medical education. The way it changes how we teach, how we learn, and how we practice medicine. We come from different generations. My generation is that with Patrick. I think Tina is a lot younger than us. And with these different generations, we have different experiences. And most of us do not have the same exposure to the different kinds of technology. Some of our teachers in the past learned medicine without the use of your smartphones and your internets. But nowadays, the students grew up with it. They use these tools every day. As shared by Dr. Moral, as part of the Generation X, learning back then meant what? Listening to long lectures, the use of your chalkboards, the use of the slides. Those we still use nowadays. We still listen to long lectures, but I think the one that's a little bit outdated for the younger generation would be the reading from the books. We usually jot down notes before using our hands, but nowadays they use their iPads, they use their pens and whatever. And dati, you usually do photocopies of materials, but I don't think they do that nowadays already. Dr. Athena, on the other hand, is different, right? Okay? She's actually in between. She did not grow up with the technology, but she learned how to use it. It helps her understand both the younger and the older generation. This reminds us that good teaching today means knowing how to connect. We have to connect with the young, we have to connect with the old. Learning today is more of being flexible and engaging. That is because of the presence of the technology that we have. But remember that not everything is supposed to be digital. We should choose the tools that we use wisely and not to rely on too many of them, because we are offered a lot of them actually. More importantly for the students, it's not important that you learn to use these tools, but sometimes you have to stop and ask yourself, hey, is this useful for me? So, while it's really amazing that we have ChatGPT, every time I use my ChatGPT, I'm so amazed by it, right? So, we have ChatGPT, you have Copilot, you have the Gemini, and you have a lot of applications actually that are being offered nowadays. But it is for us to remember that we have to not rely mostly on our screens, but we need to remember that being present with the patient is the one that matters most. We must teach empathy and clinical competence with as much care as when we teach pharmacology, physiology, or anatomy. People won't remember data. People won't remember records or results. What do they usually remember? People will remember when you listen. People will remember when you care and when you make them feel safe. It's not about who is young or who is old. It's about working together. You learn together. It's a two-way exchange. It creates a collaborative, dynamic, and learning environment. Sino ba ang doktor ngayon? Ano ba ang tawag natin sa kanila? Dr. Tina mentioned a while ago, a hybrid physician, right? It's a wired physician. So what's that? It is supposed to be a doctor who has a knowledge on how you are supposed to be using the technology that is being offered to us today, but also to remain focused, to remain humble, and to remain ethical. And that is the one that is supposed to be most important. Technology is a tool. It's not the heart of medicine. So, as we keep the pillar of the Thomasian seal of lifelong learning, we must keep practicing the 3 C's of a Thomasian doctor, that is, competence, compassion, and commitment. That is the one that will matter most in the end. In the age of AI, students will definitely need their teachers more to get them to do the hard things now that are good and that they will be needing in the future. Because in the end, it is not the screen that heals. It is the doctor who knows how to show up, the doctor who knows how to care, and the doctor who knows how to listen. Thank you and congratulations again.
Okay, first of all, a disclaimer, I do not share chismis, I share technology, Dr. Rosita. Okay, so it's both a privilege and a profound honor to stand before you today as we gather to recognize our 2 speakers and who has shown their dedication to our academic and moral mission that has shaped not only our institution but also the future of medical education. So they both represent, Dr. Tina and Dr. Moral, they represent different generations yet united by unwavering commitment to mentorship and transformative education. They exemplify the convergence of tradition and innovation, and their work is a testament to the lasting impact that educators can have when they dedicate themselves not just to the pursuit of knowledge, but to the holistic formation of students. Their tandem lecture today reminds us of the vital importance of integrity in our vocation, a message that resonates deeply, particularly in an age where technological advancements challenge us to stay grounded It is a call to ensure that as we innovate, we never lose sight of the values that guide us. In that spirit, we also witnessed an amazing demonstration of how technology, when thoughtfully integrated, can illuminate rather than overwhelm. The live use of ChatGPT during today's session was not merely a display of digital fluency, but a purposeful example of how AI can be harnessed to explore sensitive topics such as depression, digital exhaustion, which can be both affecting teachers and students. Instead of replacing the human touch, it helped us model meaningful conversations, stimulate reflection, and promote empathy. This should serve as a bridge, not a barrier to well-being and connection to our patients. Dr. Tina's emphasis on website manners also powerfully reframes our responsibilities as educators and clinicians in the digital era. Just as bedside manner defines the heart of clinical care, webside manner challenges us to bring compassion, attentiveness, and ethical presence into every virtual encounter as our world merges with the virtual environment. This recognition is not only a celebration of the personal achievements of Dr. Eric and Dr. Tina, but also a reaffirmation of our collective commitment as Catholic educators and physicians. It is a reminder of the shared responsibility we all carry, not just to impart knowledge, but to form future healers who will approach their work with skill, compassion, and unwavering ethical conviction. May this moment renew our shared dedication to the lifelong work of teaching, learning, and serving, always in the pursuit of truth, excellence, and service to our students and to the broader community. On behalf of all of us who have been touched by your work, thank you, Dr. Eric and Dr. Tina. May the conferment of the Doña Victorial T. Professional Chair in Medical Education serve not only as tribute to your contributions, but also a beacon for all of us to strive to elevate the art and ethics of teaching in medicine. Congratulations once again, and we all walk forward with renewed purpose in the spirit of truth, compassion, and excellence. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Nitsangalang and Earl. Hindi po totoo yung sinasabi ni Dr. Sempio. Mas maniwala po kayo sa akin. Moving forward, kasi ano po ako, mas senior ako sa kanya. So probably, hindi naman baby boomer, but generation before X. Okay, so moving on to the next part of our program, I would like to invite Reverend Father Louis R. Coronel, OP, our Secretary General and Executive Director of the USA Research and Endowment Foundation Incorporated, for his message of thanks.
Mere words and gestures are not enough to express our gratitude to the following offices and persons who assisted and made this solemn conferment rites a success: the Central Committee on University Events, the students, academic staff, support staff, and officials of the UST Faculty of Medicine and Surgery, administrative and academic officials of the university, especially the deans who are here present, executive officials of the university, UST Refi with Very Reverend Father Richard G. Ang OP as the president, today's honorees, Dr. Maria Cristina A. Maranion and Dr. Patrick Gerald Moral, our benefactor for the Doña Victoria T. Tan Professorial Chair in Medical Education, the Metrobank Foundation Incorporated, with Mr. Philip Francisco U.D. as Executive Vice President, and Mr. Aniceto M. Sobrepeña as President. At this juncture, in a very special note, on behalf of the University of Santo Tomas, we would like to express our deepest gratitude to Mr. Aniceto Chito Sobrepeña and the Metrobank Foundation Incorporated for their unwavering support and enduring partnership with the university. Mr. Sobrepeña, your leadership at MBFI has brought to life several meaningful initiatives that have significantly contributed to the academic and cultural development of UST. The establishment of the Doña Victoria T. Tan Professorial Chair in Medical Education has provided a platform for academic staff to share their research and insights further enriching our scholarly community. Moreover, the annual recognition of outstanding teachers through the search for Metrobank Foundation Outstanding Filipinos, many of whom come from the UST, the Tomasian community, continues to inspire a culture of excellence among our educators. Furthermore, we wish to highlight the scholarship program for students of the UST College of Architecture, which helps in easing the financial burdens of talented Tomasians as they pursue their vocation in design and built environment. This act of generosity not only supports individual dreams, it shapes the future of our cities and communities. We are also thankful to MBFI's support in projects that promote nation building through education, which strengthens our academic discourse and academic staff development. Your generosity and commitment to education have become a legacy that touches generations. Maraming salamat po, Sir Chito, for your enduring support and for believing in the mission of the university. May your example continue to inspire others to serve with compassion, integrity, and purpose. Finally, all glory and praise to Almighty God for making this event possible. Salamat po.
Thank you very much, Father Louis Coronel. May I request Mr. Aniceto Sobrepeña to kindly join our Vice Rector, Reverend Father Isaias Antonio Tionco, OP, for a very short thank you and simple token coming from the university. Thank you very much. Mr. Aniceto Sobrepeña, may I request for a very short message from you?
Thank you very much. This is such a surprise. Yeah, I'm very happy to receive this special thanks. And two things I want to share. UST is very close to my heart because when I was studying at the Ateneo de Manila University, just before the declaration of martial law, I decided to enroll at UST during the summer so that my parents will not hijack me to go back to Nueva Ecija because of my being part of the student demonstrations at that time. So in a sense, UST was a refuge so that I was able to, while studying here in the summer, be able to do my work with the farmers, the Federation of Free Farmers. We were then campaigning for the passage just before martial law of the Comprehensive Agrarian Reform Law. So the second point, while UST is close to me, is my big boss, Dr. George SKT, the son of Doña Victoria Titan, was given the distinct honor of an honorary doctorate during, I think, the centennial of UST. So Dr. T also studied during his high school days here in UST, but was not able to finish because he quotes himself as a pasaway. And so he did not finish his schooling here. So he was really thrilled to receive that honorary doctorate from UST. And as mentioned earlier, we have very strong education programs here in UST. First in 1995, when the Metrobank Foundation chairman of the board, former President Cory Aquino, suggested to Dr. T to launch a scholarship program. UST was one of our few top universities that we granted scholarships. And up to now, we continue to do that, especially for the College of Architecture, in partnership with Boysen Paint. Second, we have many outstanding teachers honored by Metrobank who come from the faculty, various faculties and departments of UST. And when the mother died, Mr. T said, why don't we put up a professorial chair in various medical schools? So UST was, of course, number one in our list. So we are happy that we are continuing this program on college, on medical education. And I think those three aspects, no? We have a professorial chair program, scholarship program, and the outstanding teachers program. I was talking to Vice Chancellor here on making sure that every year there is a nominee from the college category. And we have Dr. Minerva Kalimag here, one of our awardees, distinguished awardee. We're so happy that UST has gotten back to the cycle. May mga taon na wala eh. So we are requesting, challenging, yung dangal ng UST awardees, yun po ang ating i-nominate annually, our program. And we can also have nominees from the basic ed, no? There's a slot for elementary, there's slot for high school, and there's slot for college. So, meron naman, wala naman ng prohibition in any 1 year, grants lamang isang pamantasan. So, pwede po yan. So, once again, thank you very much to UST. This has been a very nice homecoming. I'll be stepping down as president next week. And this is such a tribute, a timely tribute. And I'd like to introduce the incoming president, Philip D. That's why he delivered the speech earlier. So we will continue all our programs with UST at Boyet. Yeah, so maraming salamat.
Thank you very much, Mr. Sobrepeña. And please enjoy your retirement. Maraming salamat po sa lahat ng suporta sa University of Santo Tomas. And we also welcome the new president. Advance thank you po sa lahat ng suporta sa University of Santo Tomas. As we draw this illuminating Doña Victoria Titan Professorial Lecture to a close, we've explored the vast potential of AI and other technology in shaping the medical curriculum without losing the human touch. And as we ponder this future, let's remember the very essence of what we have discussed, encapsulated perfectly by the acronym itself, AI. A stands for awesome advancements we have witnessed today and the incredible potential yet to unfold, and I, for the intelligent integration required to truly harness these tools for the betterment of medical education and ultimately patient care. Dr. Moral and Dr. Maranion, your lecture has truly been an absolute inspiration. Thank you for guiding us through this critical frontier. Another round of applause for our conferees. To all of you, thank you for your presence, your engagement, and for being part of this vital conversation. Let's continue to embrace the future with adaptability and innovation. Ang inyong lingkod, Dr. Sita De Castro, Faculty Secretary of the UST Faculty of Medicine and Surgery, naway maging ang ating araw ay puno ng inspirasyon at tagumpay. Hanggang sa muli, AI, thank you. So, thank you very much, everyone. May I call on everyone to kindly stand up for the singing of our UST hymn. May I request Dr. Moral